in our community, we are taught not to trust police, not to trust the hospital, not to trust the institutions, because they've never, in our minds, they've never had our best interests at heart.
They never have.
So how do you sit there and, bridge that?
One of the main themes in our report is trust. Trust, how to rebuild trust. And we often get brought into meetings to say, Sandra, help us. How do we rebuild trust with the community? And I always say, wait a minute, you're assuming that trust was there in the first place for it to be rebuilt. There was no trust, and we are afraid. And we look at the word trust, but actually the better word is fear.
Yeah.
Black people are scared of engaging with services.
Yo, people, welcome back to the Bread and Butter podcast. You're here with myself, Tayo.
And myself, Eman.
And we've got a very special but elusive guest in the building, Eman. Someone we've been trying to get hold of. We've been trying to grab their cape, but they've just been escaping us. But finally, we've got her in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, today we've got Sandra Igwe in the building. Welcome.
Come on.
Welcome. We finally made it.
Made it.
Let's let the people know why it's been so hard to get hold of you, right? You're just a jet setter.
She's living that life.
You're just a jet setter.
Look at we said just come to podcast. She look like she's going to the boardroom. Look at her. Look at her. Put on black dress, you know? Make man feel like he's come underdressed.
I
For his own podcast.
Yo, honestly, she's doing boardroom. How you doing today? You good?
I feel so good. I feel honoured to be here. And honestly, I don't do podcasts. I was saying that to you before. I love what you guys do, and I have massive respect for your platform, you guys individually as well. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you so much. And to our listeners and our viewers as well, you see how we get the people that don't do podcasts, but we make sure that they're here to give you the gems. You know what I'm trying to say? Is give you the insights that you've never heard before. Now, Sandra, on the podcast, we always ask people, what is their bread and butter? So could you please tell us what your bread and butter is? Break it down to the people, what it is that you do.
What is it that I do? Okay, so I am the founder and the CEO of the Motherhood Group, which is a social impact organization that supports mothers, the Black maternal experience through programs, events, training, research, commission. We also have our digital platform, Black Mums app, that has thousands of mothers. We have antenatal classes on there, prenatal classes, bereavement classes on there. We also have conferences, the largest Black maternal health conference in the UK.
Amazing.
And just lots of other things. I'm also an author. I've written 2 books, and one of my books are in every library in the country, and it's used to train healthcare practitioners when they are engaging with mothers that look like me.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's levels, isn't it?
That's levels. And I saw you saying it with a smile on your face. So it's good to hear that, like, the work that you do brings you joy. I want to get into that. I feel like I don't even know where to start, innit?
You know where I need to start?
Where?
No, now you've done that introduction, now it all makes sense. Me and Sandra was at a wedding together, and we're on the same table at the wedding, yeah? And you know when they call up to go and get food?
Oh.
Tell me why Sandra and her husband and the baby were eating. The rest of us are looking at them hungry.
Well, came and someone came with something?
No, they've gone to get food already because they're VIPs.
Yeah. Someone came and whispered. They gave them the earpiece.
So while we're still on our table, we're sitting down waiting. I thought I was special. I thought, right, I'm the Eman effect, you know? I'm out here hungry. Then I heard the intro. I said, okay, it makes sense now.
No.
It makes sense now.
It's
You
making
snooze,
sense now.
you lose. We went out.
Do you know what
hungry.
That is too funny, but I'm excited to get into it. The reason why is that I think that a lot of people do have passions in what they do, and we'll speak about what drives you and everything, right? But when you say the CEO of the Motherhood Group, I think that what people will understand off the back of this podcast is that it is a real, like, major entity. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, there is real works going behind the scenes, impacting real lives. And you spoke about the app and all these bits, which we'll get into. But I guess the main questions to start with is that, how did it all start? And maybe for you to answer from the get-go, right? Did you ever think it'd be what it is today?
I did think it would be what it is today. I'm being honest.
You're Nigerian, right?
I'm Nigerian.
No, you know what it is when you really deep it before you get into it. When you really deep it, like to think about to call something a motherhood, like, do you know what I mean? Like
Group.
It's the audacity.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to even just wake up and say, you know what, I'm doing the mother. Like, I'm just gonna create it.
Wow.
Like, that's fantastic.
It's
Like,
fantastic.
like, where does that come from? Like, where do you get the energy to actually wake up one day and say, you know what, here's a problem. I'm gonna be the one to solve it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a question off the back of what Eman just said.
Yeah.
Because I want you to do this before you answer my question.
Okay.
Based off what Eman just said, who was Sandra before the Motherhood Group?
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Who was Sandra before the Motherhood Group? I was always this way. So I actually used to run companies before the Motherhood Group, and it was very similar, but it was not for mothers, obviously, because I wasn't a mum. It was for young professionals. So it used to be called Interflow, where it would be young Black professionals that networked with each other, and I would bring in different speakers, different mentors to coach and train young professionals on how to get into the workforce. I was doing that, but also I had a legal background, so I always knew about building strategy, collaboration, partnerships.
How old when you started Interflow? If you don't mind me
I
asking.
was maybe like 20, 21.
So what makes you, as a 21-year-old,
Bro.
start running an entity that...
Yeah, I was just chasing Nash. You're here, started off.
You guys said I'm Nigerian, but I'll take it a step further. I'm Igbo.
Bro, and
Yeah.
I'm
love,
Igbo.
Igbo
Yeah,
love
love money.
business.
Business.
Bro, it's business. B-I-Z.
Business.
N-E-S-S. They love business.
Business.
Yeah, so talk to us about that.
Do you know what? You're making me actually think, trying to go back, like really for real. Maybe it's because maybe my upbringing as well. My mum and my mum and dad separated when I was really, really young, but I always saw my mum doing something. She never like worked a 9 to 5. She always had like businesses, properties. I remember her going to Atlanta, buying houses there, coming back, flipping houses in Stockwell. Like she was always doing something.
Yeah.
So I always watched my mum like on her own, doing really, really well, but just knowing that she had 4 kids by herself, and she would always bring me along those trips and those journeys. And I always watch her. I would always watch how she would operate. That's one. But I also think genetics play a part as well. So my sisters are very different from me, and we grew up in the same household, but they're very much like chill. They don't want any stress in that sense. They just want a nice, simple, lovely life. But from young, I always knew I wanted an empire.
Yeah.
And it might be just genetics, but I think for me, when I was younger, I didn't understand that what business was. I just knew, okay, I wanted to impact people, and I wanted to have a level of power and influence. That sounds very narcissistic, and it's not. But when you have power and you have influence, you can actually make people's lives better. You can use your platform to make change. So I always knew that from young. That's why I did law. I did law at university, and I come from a family of lawyers on my dad's side. So everyone's a lawyer on my dad's side. My uncles are politicians in the Imo state. If you say my maiden surname before I got married, people will be like, oh, you're so-and-so's niece or so I've always had that sort of as my go-to. My dad always said, you had to become a lawyer, you have to influence, you have to. And after I did my law degree, I didn't really enjoy the practicing law or trying to practice law in that sense, because I felt like it restricted me, it boxed me in. And I always knew that I wanted to be able to be free and to do what I want on my own terms, because I never really functioned well at a desk, looking at a screen, being told I can have lunch at 12 o'clock. Like that was like my worst nightmare, and I knew that very, 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 very early on. I didn't know at the time that I had undiagnosed ADHD. Now it's a buzzword. But I never lead with that, because I don't think that's the reason why I am the way I am. But I know that's the reason why I've always hated some level of restriction, formality, and boring structure. So that's a backlog. I got pregnant unexpectedly with my now husband, Obi. Big him up.
You got Obi?
Big up Obi. Obina. But when I was pregnant, I knew that I had to stop or pause Interflow, which is what I was doing before the Motherhood Group.
Before we go into that, what does it look like in your very traditional Nigerian household? A family of lawyers, you get a law degree, and then 3 years later, you sack off law and start Interflow.
Do you know what? I remember in my second year of uni telling my mum I don't want to do law anymore. And I actually didn't go to any of my classes for 7 months. And so I was just not going to class. Like I didn't go to any class. My mum said, just finish your law degree. You can do whatever you want to do after. That was the bribe. Finish your law degree. You can do whatever you want. And I didn't go to any of my classes. My teachers didn't know me. My peers didn't see me for ages. But when it came to handing in, what was they call it? Dissertation. That's it. And doing the exam, the way that I was so crazy, I just quickly all night. That drink, relentless. Is it relentless?
Crazy drink, right?
That drink. I thought it banned it, no? That thing is serious.
It used to give me heart palpitations. But I would drink it and finish it off, hand it in, did my exam, and I managed to pass. I don't know if it was like God or I was just like, not to sound cocky, but naturally like smart. I just knew how to
brilliant.
Just say it. Just say it.
No, but for real, like I knew how to. Do you know what it is? At university, it's very much not how intelligent you are; it's how you can cram information in a short space of time. So I knew how to cram facts, cases, legislation, quick. Knew how to apply it to my answers, and then I passed. So I did it. I did my law degree. I did what they wanted me to do. Right.
Yeah.
But they always knew that Sandra was a creative. I loved art. I loved music. I loved performance studies. I loved, interacting with people. And so I did that. And then I shadowed a barrister in a criminal case. Knew that I never wanted to be a criminal lawyer. First of all, I cried in court when they sentenced my client to jail for. Long story short, he went up for drugs and theft and attempted murder. But I got to know this guy because I had to bring him into court every single day. He went to Greenwich University and he seemed like he got lost along the way. I prayed with him. I was and still am a Christian. So I used like that experience to sort of bring him to know God and said, don't worry, you're going to bust this case. He didn't bust case. So I cried in court and the judge there and then told me that I don't suit ever being a barrister because I'm too emotional. Said it there and then. I was so embarrassed. So I thought, okay, this doesn't suit me. I'm too attached to people's stories. I feel emotions. You have to be a little bit cold to do that, or maybe detach yourself from the people and the case. So I ended up going into contract law, which is more so around partnerships, business development, with higher education and social enterprises. That's where I found out that you could actually run a business with a social lens to it. So I studied whilst I was doing my MBA, whilst working as a social enterprise manager for 3 universities at the time. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm rushing now.
No, it's making sense today, but I just want to pause you there. So you pivoted from criminal law to contract law.
Yeah.
You saw that, with this contract law stuff, like people actually got business from working with social enterprises. So you learned that and said that, all right, I'm going to go do an MBA in it to learn it more. So,
because I was working in the university, they asked me, do I want to do an MBA for free?
Okay.
Part-time. And I was like, yeah, I'm never going to get this opportunity again to get an MBA for free whilst studying in the university. So I was going to class. I would work from 9 to 5 and then go to my class from like 7 till 10 p.m. So I did that part-time. It wasn't in social enterprise, my MBA. It was an MBA in Masters in Business Administration. But I was the only black person in my class and the youngest in my class. Most people in that course were either already CEOs or directors of companies. So I was mixing with people who were directors. And I didn't even know what I was trying to do at the time. So that exposed me to the world of, okay, you have to kind of like, as you're making it, as you're climbing the corporate ladder, as you're running a business, you still have to learn and empower yourself with knowledge on the way for credibility. But I wasn't there yet, so I felt like, why am I on this course? But I did it, and I graduated. But I was working on corporate contract law, but also working alongside different social entrepreneurs and social enterprises. And so I didn't know at all, prior to that, maybe working there, long time ago, that you can actually, monetize your purpose, your passions. I had no idea until working with them. So I did that course, and that's what gave me the sort of breadth and knowledge about blending contracts, partnerships, social enterprises, my MBA, and kind of like thinking, okay, what can I do with this information? And that's how I started Interflow.
Amazing.
Yeah. You know what? There's too many gems, because number one is that just finish. I know you said it like when your mum just told you, just finish.
Just finish.
Because if you didn't finish the degree, and number one, even before that, is pick a good degree. You know, some people are just going to do degree just to say, I've gone to uni. But actually, you picked a meaningful degree.
Yeah.
So it actually means something in the real world. So then your mum said finish. You finished. Then you started to practice. Then you realized, okay, that's not for me. And then you pivoted. But you couldn't have pivoted if you didn't finish. Do you know what I mean? If you said, I know I don't want to do this, you'll be at home just chilling, thinking, what do I want to do? But you finished. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even me myself, like I did finance. Okay. I did finance. I didn't know I was going to be a financial advisor. I just knew I wanted to work in a bank.
Wow.
I didn't even know what role, what job. I just wanted to get in a bank.
Yes.
And then once I got there, the world of opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important for our listeners to realize that, because we got a lot of young people who are studying, they might not know what they want to do.
Exactly.
But just finish. Do your best and finish.
Finish
And then you can have options.
Yeah. I also want to add that you pointed out that you wanted to be a criminal lawyer at one point.
Yeah.
The judge, and you cried after your case.
During the court,
And the judge basically told you that this isn't for you. And I can imagine that at the time you felt distraught.
Yeah.
But one thing I always want to tell people is that what story do you want to tell at the end of it? Because I'm sure that played a pivotal part in your story. And a lot of people don't understand that with any successful story, there has to be some pain. There's going to be some pain. There's going to be some quote unquote tears. So one thing I'm always saying to people is that, with that being said, take the pain with joy, because the pain means that you're on your way somewhere. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
There's no one who's been super successful that's just had an ultra smooth run, unless they're like a son of some billionaire, basically. You get what I'm trying to say? But if you're doing it yourself, there's going to be some pain. And I guess that shifted the journey or the route of what you were taking, and it took you to contract law, right?
Yes, 100%. I knew that I did not want to be a criminal law barrister. Like I knew. And actually, most of the people that were working in that space didn't really look happy to me. And I knew that happiness was part of my job. I could never be in any job or employment and feel unhappy. There's many people that are currently stuck in spaces where they're working because they have to do it, but they're not happy. And I just knew straight away, I can't do this. I don't want to do it anymore.
I think it's so important also, you done an MBA. Like, I feel like when you see people achieving, understand what's gone into it, but also the environment is so key, because like I did a post on socials talking about, like, if you're in a group of 9 people and none of them have bought a property, the conversation is going to be, it's so difficult to get on the property ladder. Whereas if you're in a group of 9 people and everyone's bought, it's that I'm next, because you're learning from everybody around you. You're going to find, between all the people that have bought, you're going to find a route for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Once you're amongst that. And actually you being amongst these business people, putting yourself in an environment, like you said, the only black person, was you the only woman?
I was the youngest. No, there was other women, that I was definitely the youngest woman.
The youngest in the room. Like, you could have easily been intimidated, but instead you got into the environment, you got to learn. Like, we talk about wanting to achieve great things, but how much times do we surround ourselves with people that are achieving great things and just sit and learn? I feel like we always want the limelight, but there's times where you have to be in the background, just learning and developing and just taking from those that have gone before to prepare yourself. And this is why you're able to now walk into boardrooms and talk to people as the Motherhood Group, like, and they take you seriously, because you can say, look, I studied law, I've done an MBA, like I've worked on contracts, I've done all of these things prior to being here. And a lot of people will see you outside and just think, you just had an idea and then you just did it on social media, and then everybody just started opening doors. But actually, you've done the preparation, you've done the work.
I can't wait to unpack this as well, because quite frankly, and it's not their fault as well, but quite frankly, there's going to be people that know of the Motherhood Group, and they think it's a social media page. We're about to get into what it is. So let's go back to you fell pregnant, right? Let's take it from there.
Yeah, I did. I got pregnant with my beautiful daughter Zoe. Zoe Igwe. But at the time, I thought my life was over. I wasn't a teenager, but I felt like this was teenage pregnancy. So I paused into flow running that, and that was quite sad, because I just started picking it off the ground and building it. And if I had continued, maybe it would have been like one of the biggest platforms for, young professionals from our community. So I stopped that and paused that. But I had a very traumatic birthing experience. And using my legal background, I said, these people are going to stuff. They're gonna pay. So I took out a case against them, and they admitted to a breach of duty. The trust that didn't listen to my concerns relating to me and my daughter. And cut a long story short, they're gonna give my daughter a massive payout when she turns 18. But that's for another day.
Yeah, we love that.
But yeah, so I knew straight away that race had a lot to do with my poor, terrible treatment. But I would Google like black mum support. Nothing was popping up. I would see loads in America, but none in the UK. Granted, I did join one WhatsApp group that had lots of black mothers in it, but it wasn't necessarily directly for black mothers. But I noticed there was like a few of us there, and I thought this is quite nice. And I had that idea beforehand, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna set up a group, a mum's group, a motherhood group, where I can talk to other black women that understand my challenge. And so I just added loads of people, and it grew really, really quickly. It's like over 100 mothers in the chat. But I wanted to focus on issues pertaining to Black, African, Caribbean women, because I didn't want to leave my house, because I had moved from London all the way to the Midlands at the time. I didn't really know many people in that area. When I tried to go out with my baby, I felt like this doesn't fit me, this doesn't suit me. They're ignoring me, they're not speaking to me. Maybe I don't fit, these support groups. So I stayed at home and just focused on building a network of mothers virtually online, and adding them to the WhatsApp group, and then having events. So we had our first event in South London, in Clapham, and I remember just putting out the invite, and I was so shocked. And the owner of the venue was so angry with me because there was buggies all outside parked. It was people came from Nottingham, Birmingham, Bristol with their babies because they had never seen anything like it. They had never experienced a space for black mothers and pregnant women to speak about everything pertaining to motherhood. And that was the first, and I thought, this is it. There's a gap. There's something that I can grow and build from this. And so I formalized it after that.
How many attendees did you think you'll have before when you put it out?
I thought I'd have like 10 mums around the table drinking coffee.
And that's good as well. It's good. 10 mums is not a joke.
10 mums is not a joke.
That's a good number.
There was about 90, under 100. Yeah, there was
no wonder
too
the
many.
owner, I was thinking, why would the owner be upset? So it gets to a number where you're just like, are we even in business anymore?
He was so angry. He was so angry because there was buggies literally everywhere. You couldn't get into the building, and it was all parked outside.
Did you, before you launched the event, before you put it out, did you feel like it was perfect? The invitation was exactly how you wanted?
No.
You got the perfect date, you got the perfect venue.
No.
So what made you just do? Because a lot of people are going to need to hear this.
Okay, so one thing about me is that I get an idea and I act very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And I am, in my heart, I feel like I like things to be perfect, but I'm not a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I'm not. So I did the flyer myself using, at the time, was it Facebook days? I used one of these random, there was no Canva, there was no, none of this slick stuff. It was very much, I don't know what I even used, word art. Was that a thing? Maybe it was that. But I did the flyer myself. There was no logo. I literally put the Motherhood Group, and I actually have a picture of the first flyer, so I might share that with you guys after. And I did it myself. It was very, very ugly. I would never put that out now, but it was something that I knew would just have to do.
But what you're saying is that it's about execution first, and that's one of the reasons that you're successful, right? You don't overthink it. The flyer doesn't have to be perfect. No. Your flyers are great now, but you had to have a rubbish flyer all those years ago to begin, right? I saw a tweet that is so funny, so I'm going to read it out.
Yeah.
And it kind of alludes to what we're speaking about, innit? Someone tweeted, I'm going to paraphrase because there's a lot of swearing in it. Where it's like, do you know what your problem is? You think that everything needs to be exact. What's 347 divided by 39? It's effing 9. It's not 8.8974. It's like you need to just say 9, round up and move on. Because while you're like making everything exact, some next guy has just started with 9. You get what I'm saying? He's just begun with 9, and you're still working out it's 8.8 something. And it's so true. Like I feel like people they call it analysis paralysis, right? Yeah. Because you want to overanalyze, you don't want to just start. Sometimes you need to start and tweak. You sometimes people focus on their first flyer being perfect.
Yeah.
And then only 10 people come, or maybe 5 people come. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to start, get it out there and begin basically.
Yeah, people don't realize, I'm a big believer in success, love, speed.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just got to go, and it gives my wife palpitations. Because my wife is a thinker. She wants to work everything out. It has to make sense before we start. I'm like, I know where we're trying to get to. By the time I work out work it out,
Yeah.
I could have already made 10 mistakes and been there.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I could
Yeah.
have already put it out
Yeah.
imperfectly, 5, 6, 7 versions,
Yeah.
and then by the time you would have made your first version correct and just started, I've already built a name,
built.
and I've already learned from my mistakes. And I'm a person that just likes to learn from my mistakes, and just go.
Yeah.
But
you need your wife though, because you guys are the perfect balance.
Yeah.
You need
Good
somebody
balance,
that can just
Yeah.
jump and leap, and somebody
Yeah.
that can actually help pick up the mess along the way and
Yeah.
can help analyze the situation. So I think that balance is usually.
I love what you said about the mess along the way. There's a lot of mess.
There's a lot of mess.
There's a lot of mess.
Naturally, it's going to create some mess in it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
But the thing is, it's like I always ask people that sometimes doing nothing is riskier.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm trying to say? Sometimes doing nothing is riskier. You like some people don't start because they can't think of the name for their website. Bro.
Think about it. You ain't even got one customer, bro.
It doesn't matter.
Colour scheme isn't perfected.
What's our
yet.
brand colours? Can you imagine?
Doing too much.
Like you need to literally just begin.
Yeah.
Just start.
Just start. Just do.
Yeah.
So long as you're doing, you can work it out along
Yeah.
the way. Because the interesting thing is, sometimes you need whatever your idea is in practice to see what needs to be better. It needs to be in practice before you can improve it.
Yes.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You could spend a year trying to perfect it. You're gonna have to improve on it anyway when you release
Anyway,
it. So
you
just
might
release
as well
it today.
just
And
start.
sometimes
Yeah.
I'll do something, and I'm sure that you guys do. I know that this is true. And I know that it isn't easy for everyone, because sometimes it's not easy for me. But do you know what I do sometimes?
What?
I trap myself. So before I'm ready, I'm saying we're setting a date for this.
Anyway.
Once I set the date and announce it, now all of these things
Has to
happen.
get done.
Now these things have to happen.
Has to.
I just set a date, force
Yeah.
myself to do it. Or pay a deposit on something. I'm not losing this piece.
It's
I'm
too
not
late
everything.
now.
This piece can't get lost.
It's important.
Yeah, fell forward quickly.
Yeah.
Is what I
Literally.
say. Fell forward quickly. Take the risk. Risk takers.
Yes. So first event.
Okay,
Huge
first
success.
event. Huge success at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
There was no panel speakers. There was no flyer with people's faces, their bio. There was no light. It was even a dark room. It was so dark, but people left saying, when is the next one? People were crying in that space. It's like, I've never felt so seen, heard, believed in my life before. And I was like, okay, I feel a buzz. I'm feeling something in my body that makes me feel like I want to do this again. And also I feel like I'm actually positively impacting people that are in this space.
Yeah.
I haven't got a formula at the time. I didn't have a formula. I didn't have a structure. I didn't even have it registered, as you mentioned. It was just a WhatsApp group name that materialized. And so I thought, okay, this is something that I can hone in on and focus. Let me now work backwards. Let me now
Meet the demand.
meet the demand. And that's one thing that I think entrepreneurs, maybe Nigerians, we naturally do. We get an opportunity presented to us and we say, yes, I can do it. And then we don't know how to do it. And then we figure it out. I'll hold my hand up. Our first ever email to say, hi, Sandra, do you guys offer training? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We didn't offer training. Sorry, guys, if you're listening. We didn't offer training at the time, but it was a massive trust who had a big budget for training. And I thought, we can offer training. We have the insights, the knowledge, the experience, the community. I have access to wonderful practitioners who know their stuff. Yes, we can offer this training. And you work backwards. People would usually say, no, we don't, sorry. And then you miss out. You miss out.
Did you see your face when you said you missed out?
Yeah, come on.
You couldn't believe it.
No, but you know what also, and this goes back to having that law degree helps as well.
Yeah.
You understand infrastructure, you understand terminology, you understand how to create a contract. So you understand how to create a course.
Yes.
Like you understand the fundamentals. Like having that degree like has helped you without even knowing. Like that was the seed to everything to where you had the confidence to be able to build. Remember, there's no ChatGPT like
that's
now
what I was gonna say.
that you just say,
I was
someone
gonna
said,
say
can you make
this
a course? Of course, ChatGPT can do whatever you want. It wasn't there.
Wow.
You couldn't Google this. There's no template.
There was no template. There was nothing out there. I hadn't even been on a course or seen a course that
Trust me.
existed like that before.
Yeah, I think the key thing is, like Eman said, you understood all these things. And I think one thing is that you understood opportunity,
Yes.
which a lot of people do not.
No.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I think that a lot of people think that, sorry to say that, some people think this life is easy, that you could just pass up on something like that.
Come on, yeah, they
you
would.
can't.
You can't.
You can't.
They think they never think they're being noble. They think they're being honest. They think they're being a good person. Oh no, I can't do it. I just don't have the skills right now.
bro.
But I'll have it in like 12 months' time. I'd love to have another. This conversation is never going to happen again.
Yeah, life ain't like that, man. You need to, once they open a crease, you just need to beat it down and run in, jump in there.
And what's the worst that can happen? You either do it and it's terrible and then they won't book you again, but at least you tried.
Yeah. And I think the key thing is, and I'm sure you did this as well, don't feel fear about not being who you want to be at that point in time, you'll be transparent with them as well. So even though you work backwards, I'm sure it's a case of, okay, this is what we can do. So they know if it's going to suit them or not, right?
Yes,
you got to say, this is what we
100%,
can do. It's not like we're just going to, we've got a haul, don't worry, we'll make it. It's like these things are very structured. It's not, we'll pattern.
No, but also the thing about this as well is that I'm sure they would have certain ideas of what they would expect as well. So it's not like you just come in and there's like, we don't have a clue. They'll be like, this is where we think we've got gaps. This is what we think we need. You can then go and match and make something to match. So it's collaboration.
And the final thing that I'll add as well, which is something that I think even helped me a lot, right? 5 years ago, is that you need to understand that in your scenario, they were inquiring about you based on what they saw of you already.
That's the truth.
So stop overthinking it. Like, they've literally seen you do something and they want more of what they've seen.
Yeah.
If they're requesting for something else, it's like, bro, you see me do this.
It's different. When you're now pitching, it's different. When you're going out to say, I can do this, I can do that, it's different. When they've come to you, there's something that, like you said, they've already seen it.
They've seen you wear shorts then. They can't be mad when you wear shorts for the next one. You got to state that I'd like you to wear trousers. Otherwise, I'm coming as you saw me in the illustrious.
Exactly.
You guys trying to say?
And that's the important part you mentioned, Eman. It was, I've never, ever pitched before.
Yeah.
It's always been referrals, people reaching out. And that is a wonderful model to have. If you can just, first of all, have people inquiring about you, it means you're doing something good already.
Yeah.
I love that. So go on, the first one, how did that course go?
It went really good. I said really good. So firstly, I had to, because I'll be honest, I'm not a practitioner, I'm not a midwife, I'm not a perinatal mental health specialist. I have no medical degree whatsoever. Okay. And what they wanted was definitely a cultural competency program around maternal health with a lens of a practitioner sort of delivering it. So I had to find the right people. Yeah. So I did. I had searched high. And then I remembered one lady that I met at one of my events, and she was fantastic. I asked her. I remembered another PhD student on Black maternal health. I asked her. I remembered, so I remembered quite a few people, and it's good to have a good network.
Of course. Yeah.
That network, you're on your Jack Jones. So I reached out to these really amazing people and asked them. And this is the thing. Some people are too greedy to want to share resources. I knew I had to split all of this resource to fit the people that can actually support in delivering the program. Yeah. But I also knew what they wanted, and I had I had the community of Black mums, and I had lived experience. That's the lens that I added. Yeah. So we all came together and put this program together, and we delivered it, and they loved it. They asked. We've actually done that program with them at least 4 or 5 times with this particular trust, and now other trusts have.
When you say trust, NHS trust?
NHS trust.
So it was an NHS trust that reached out to you for the first one?
For the first one.
For your very first one after your event that you expected 10 people and got 90 people, did the first NHS trust pay?
So that was independent. So this is the thing. You have to be prepared to do things with your own money.
Yeah, of course.
You said of course, but people...
A lot of people don't know.
No, exactly. You said of course, but bro, trust me, it's not of course. People don't know. They won't even start.
They don't want to start. This is what's confusing to me. I don't understand. Like, why do you need to make... Like, money wasn't even in my brain. I know I'm Igbo and I do a little bit of
business.
But honestly, I just knew if I could somehow grow and build a community... The rest, it will come.
Add value, the rest will follow.
It will follow. So I didn't have any trust reach out. I actually, in the beginning, had a model of putting out programs, just call it wellness events, peer-to-peer support. Yeah. I knew the language that potential funders would be interested in. If you say you're going to have an event for mums with panelists, nobody cares about that. It might look like that, but at the time I knew, this is 9.5 years ago, by the way, I knew that the space and the sector was very much outdated, very old. They would only fund or support things that seemed to directly benefit NHS trust, hospitals, service users. I'm using this jargon, right? Because that's the only language that they understood at the time, 9.5 years ago. But I thought, actually, if mums are only coming to the Motherhood Group or to me because they feel seen, heard, valued, they're going to get a goodie bag, they're going to get canapes, they're going to listen to speakers, they're going to connect, and they're not going to these trusts who are offering services because, one, it seems too boring, too clinical, too disattached. Then I could be a bridge. I could be the bridge between the community of mothers or families and the NHS trust service providers and institutions, because I know how to speak to them in what they would understand, and I know how to engage and communicate with people that look like me. So that's how I kind of started to build my platform, by being a bridge. Yeah, at the time, yeah.
You know what people we haven't even talked about is the fact that you had a problem, and rather than just complain, you said you're going to create a solution. Do you know how much of us we are just complainers in this life? We will complain and complain, and I will never say. Actually, like I went to Tayo's church yesterday, and the pastor's preaching, and the thing he said, like, you know, he saw a lot of poverty. He's from India. He saw a lot of poverty, people struggling, and he went home and he prayed to God, and he's like, God, like, why are you letting this happen? Why are these people suffering? Why are you letting these innocent children suffer? And he didn't hear back. God didn't say anything. Then he waited. Then he heard from God, and God said, "Why are you letting these things happen?"
Wow.
And to me, that was such a revelation that actually, he said, like, people that are doing bad, they're active. People that do good, we say we don't want to get in other people's business. We don't want to be anyone's problem. We don't want to. And it's like, actually, like, sometimes we've got to stand in that path and say, actually, you know what? I went through this, and because I went through this, I'm not just going to complain. Like you said, your door was set up, so you could have just said, listen, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I've done my part. I'm gone. But instead you said, I'm going to stand in the gap and make sure that nobody else has to go through this same thing. I'm going to make a difference.
Yeah. And I take it that from there you kind of built the Motherhood Group.
Yes.
More connections and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So we get like a rundown of where we got an idea of where you started. What does the Motherhood Group look like today? Like, what does the last 12 months look like? Obviously, there's a lot of flying up and down, Parliament. Like, talk to us about like what it looks like.
So the Motherhood Group has definitely changed.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I have to add as well, like, be prepared to adapt and change your model as the years go by, as the space develops and adapts. As I mentioned, when I first started, there was not, if any, similar support groups or organizations. Now there are lots, there are loads that have popped up, and I'm happy. I think the more of us in this space, the better.
Yes.
And there's enough space for everybody to make an impact and win.
Love that.
But I've definitely been forced to adapt and train. So initially it was solely and only focused on community building, providing that peer support, connection, and just really providing that, what I would call a physical safe space. 9.5 years on, now it looks a lot more like bridging the gap. So working alongside policymakers, institutions, the healthcare sector, training and development, and also now digital access and accessibility, which is why we now have our platform and our app. With the policy aspect, we knew that we can talk and complain amongst ourselves for only so long. We have to connect and inform those that can actually make a difference to what we're complaining and moaning and crying about. So we were commissioned to draft the Black Maternal Mental Health Report, which is the largest report in the UK of its kind, in collaboration with Centre for Mental Health and Maternal Mental Health Alliance. And that looked at over 18,000 Black mothers' experiences over 9 years.
Wow.
And we've launched our report with Parliament, and we actually have our roundtable this week to look at ways of implementing some of our recommendations and improvements for solutions. And that's, again, taking all of our insights, all of our programs, all of our events, workshops, and saying, hey, policymakers, commissioners, ICBs, CEOs, this is what we've produced. We have the insights. We have directly the voices of the community, because they don't know how to access and interact with our community. And that's what I could see 9 years ago. Wait a minute, it's so easy for me to say, hey guys, come to this place, and then 100 mums will turn up.
Yeah.
And they would have, you know, hundreds and thousands of budget towards engaging with Black mothers, and they would get zero, like no mums. And they would complain. And then we thought, okay, that we could be the connector. We could help them get access to our community. We can help our community have access to support that feels, you know, good and safe. And then we can, you know, be funded to continue that work.
Yeah. And how do we bridge it? Because the reality is, the reason they get zero is that in our community we are taught not to trust police, not to trust the hospital, not to trust the institutions, because they've never, in our minds, they've never had our best interests at heart.
They never have.
So how do you sit there and, you know, bridge that? Because you know that as much as they're trying to do good work, and you've met them in a boardroom and had these conversations, you know that the stigma outside in our community is completely different. How do you go about bridging it? How do you go about building trust? How do you help them in regards to things that they need to do? Because they need to change their perception and the way they are perceived by us.
And actually, you're very correct. One of the main themes in our report is trust. Is trust, how to rebuild trust. And we often get brought into meetings to say, Sandra, help us. How do we rebuild trust with the community? And I always say, wait a minute, you're assuming that trust was there in the first place for it to be rebuilt. There was no trust, and we are afraid. And we look at the word trust, but actually the better word is fear. Black people are scared of engaging with services. One of the other themes in our report and our work is social services. I've written a book, and a whole chapter is about me being referred to social services after giving birth to my first daughter for no reason. And that was purely based off of prejudice. And actually the NHS Trust apologised, wrote a letter of apology, and then they put that midwife on training to sort of deal with preconceptions, misconceptions and stereotyping. And so how can we, back to your question, is I think they need to engage, work with groups, companies, organisations that have already got the trust from the community. And you can't replicate trust very quickly because you have, a shiny product or a shiny service or the team. No, you have to build trust through showing time and time again that you are trustworthy. If you're hearing that Black mothers are more likely to have perinatal mental health challenges and the least likely to access support, or the most likely to be referred to social services or the criminal justice system, or more likely to die in pregnancy, or more likely to have hypertension and C-sections, then you're not going to want to trust this scary service, right? But you have to then engage, which is what they're doing now, finally. I can hands-on see over the last 9 years how now the system have learnt, okay, we can't do this on our own. We have to. We have no choice but to bring on or to create a table for Black-led organisations and companies and VCSEs or campaigners that can now actually, have an impact on their community. And I'm really pleased. It's been a massive change.
That's amazing. Eman said something really interesting, speaking about church, right? So he was saying that what the pastor was saying is that one of the biggest problems we have in the world is that the bad people are super active here, there, and everywhere. People that are bad and have bad intentions are here, there, and everywhere.
Wow.
And people that are good, oftentimes they're passive. In your scenario, in your business, we have a good person that is active, making a change. But people need to understand that there needs to be remuneration for making a change, right? And one of the reasons that people don't want to work...
She just smiled.
I know.
I hope you lot caught that. When somebody said remuneration, the teeth just came up straight away. It's in your blood.
No Taya said a dirty word in the social impact space, remuneration. It's like a dirty word. It's like money.
But I really want to break it down because to do anything successfully, it needs money, right? And I think the reason why I really want to bring this up is that sometimes people shy away from doing something that has real purpose. Because they're scared of the money element. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's like, I'd rather do something that has no impact, and there's nothing wrong with doing something that has no impact. But quite often, the world has made there be a correlation between doing good and making a living. 100%. You know what I'm trying to say? So can you give us some insights into what some payouts can look like when you're working with NHS Trust and so on and so forth? And the reason why I say that is that obviously I'm in the property space, and I have what people typically know is buy to let, letting out to families, which everybody's aware of people that have an issue with, right? Sometimes people let their property to the council and earn an income off that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that is helping people, whether they're homeless or sometimes people do supported living, whether it's children that need support, floating support, or elderly people with disabilities. Sometimes people do things through service accommodation, and it can span out to a whole number of different things. So it's important to understand that you can do good and still earn money, basically. So from your perspective, like, how has it been for like the Motherhood Group? You've been operating all these years, so it must have been.
I mean, just look at her. She's not suffering.
What's so interesting is that I had this same theory 9 years ago, and people looked at me really bad. I'm just going to put it out there, but it's okay because I know that at the time the knowledge and awareness around funding streams, income generation was very much a separate conversation to, of course, social enterprises, social impact organisation, charities, and all of that. But actually, for the work to be done, there has to be something that sustains them. I'm quite lucky privilege because I've got a corporate background, so I understand that for anything to be sustainable, there has to be structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
There has to be structure, sustainability. There has to be streams of income for it to be sustainable. So I've always known, okay, focus on the work, focus on my passion, my purpose, supporting, helping, and all of that. But eventually, there has to be a structure to this. Otherwise, like many others, it just starts and stops.
Yeah.
It was a hobby, it stopped. It was a little project, and it stopped. I always knew this has to be, long-term wise. It has to be, formalized. So actually, I did a social entrepreneur program short course 1 year when I was pregnant with my second daughter, and I learned a lot of the legal structures to different types of. So you have the CICs, you have the social enterprise, you have a company limited by guarantee. So the different types of structures. So I learnt the background. Okay, what do I want it to look like? With certain legal structures, you cannot do anything commercial. I know there's a whole like program on that you can learn on ChatGPT, on Google. But I thought actually I do like the aspect of definitely, funds and grants, but actually I enjoy delivering a service or a product. And so I do want to receive income from something that can allow me and the Motherhood Group to be creative in terms of finding solutions. And so I picked that hybrid model of, okay, we will eventually, focus on receiving funding and grants to do our basic level of work. But if we want to branch out and if we want to be a lot more innovative, we're going to have to find structure to support with sponsorships, corporate partnerships, and then delve into the tech or femtech world, which is what I'm now in. And so I've had to build partnerships. So a lot of our clients are legal firms, law firms. And people are like, why? Medical negligence law firms get a lot of cases from Black families. And you will know why, right? Because the disparities that exist for Black families and Black mothers. And so they realize that there's a lot of Black families, mothers that are sadly dying. Taya, why are you smiling?
No, this is sorry, I'm not smiling at that, but I'm just smiling at the fact that this is like, literally, like this is crazy. Like, I'm even hearing that, like, raw, like, so legal firms that work on medical cases that involve Black families, they're gonna need like some kind of expert to give some insight. So I'm about to hear how you guys.
Lead Day Law Firm,
but also
Slater and Gordon.
Also the other way around, right? So when these Black people have these issues, they're gonna think, who should I go to? So now you sponsoring and being a name in that space means that if there's an issue, we know who to go to because you're in those spaces. 100%. It's just genius.
I took out a case against my daughter, not against my daughter, for my daughter, and nobody else I had met had ever done a law. Why?
I was going to ask you that question. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in. Like, the people are going to hear this podcast and hear that your daughter's getting a healthy payout at 18 years old, right? Gosh, and people are going to be asking, should I be complaining?
Yes.
Yeah.
What? Like, people that have gone through way worse. My kids are fine now, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
But I've heard the most, because I'm privy to horrendous cases, stories, girls, women DMing me, sending me messages, emails, and I'm like, my goodness, absolutely seek justice.
Yeah.
Seek justice. And, obviously financials will not ever compensate for trauma, sometimes a loss of life, permanent disabilities. But it might help in the meantime, to support your family and your children and your child. Yeah. So definitely take out a case. And I did that without the knowledge, without ChatGPT, without our partnerships at the time. I just knew something had to give. Like they treated me and my child differently because I was Black. And I actually screamed that out loud to the midwife that was delivering my baby at the time. Even though I had no knowledge of the data surrounding Black women, I just knew, that gut feeling.
Yeah, you got the feeling,
Yeah. And so now I feel honored and privileged to be able to be a bridge to help Black families seek legal support, on a pro bono, meaning that they don't have to pay anything. And these law firms get access to, support Black families, and the Motherhood Group gets to be sustainable in the meantime. It's a no-brainer for me.
How many staff do you have at the moment?
At the moment, I've got 6 full-time staff and lots of ad hoc staff contract staff members.
So it being the bread and butter podcast, we're going back to the numbers. We need to say something. So either let us know, just so people can grasp what it is, because a lot of people want to fulfill their passion, right? But they're worried, like, is this long term? And I think that there's something that you said that's quite interesting as well. You had that background in contract law, so there's a lot of people that might not have had that structure that you built. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So give us like, I don't know, even if you want it to be revenue for a year, so we don't know what the costs are and it's up in the air, or maybe a particular contract that you closed recently, just so people get the idea.
So for this year, we are earning definitely 7 figures.
Amazing, congratulations.
Thank you. Done. And for the last 4 years, we've been earning over 6 figures. And why I say that is because people are not charging in this space, and I don't know why. Every information you share with a potential partner, an NHS trust, a client, should be monetized.
Yeah.
So this whole, hey, love what you do. Can you speak to our team about this maternal health, inequalities, disparities, diversity? And you say yes because you think you're gonna, have a table that actually monetize that, because they would never ask for, free labor from our white counterparts in another space. They wouldn't. And so monetize that. If you're delivering training, NHS trusts have budget is a priority at the moment. There's budget for cultural competency training, delivering and upskilling staff who are going to go out onto the ground to support families and babies. If you are lowering disparities and stats when it comes to babies prematurely dying or having birth trauma, you're actually saving the NHS money by supporting and upskilling their staff.
Yeah, I want to add something as well, right? Because people know the studio, right? And we're in Dubai, innit? And I'm going to speak on the other end of things. You're speaking about the fact that people should definitely charge. I'm going to speak as someone that pays. And I feel like living in Dubai, right, and you pay for a lot of things, it's made me realize, I knew it before, but it really comes down on the fact that, when you pay, it guarantees quality. Does that make sense? When you start going to all these talks for free, 2 days before they're cancelling you, they didn't have to pay for anything anyway. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They didn't have to pay for anything anyway. And when we're in an industry where the topic is so important, you just make sure that everything is going to be quality. Even make sure that you're going to do the best job that you can. Like, sometimes there needs to be money in a transaction for it to be carried out the way that it's supposed to be carried out, basically. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
100%.
I think for me, the thing that really rocks me, and I feel like, by the way, you're amazing. But I feel like what's deep is the fact that you're saying you made 7 figures on a population of 4%. Remember, people will say, only 4% is too small. No one's going to care. There's no money in it. That with the minority. You can use all these excuses. We're making 7 figures and you're even saving their money. You're even saving their money whilst doing it.
Yeah. I'm doing this because I got advice from somebody that I looked up to many, many years ago. Don't make it only about black women, Sandra, because you're not going to attract, grants, funding, and sponsorships. And she was a lot more advanced than what I was doing at the time. And I do love you dearly for listening, but I stuck to my gut instinct, and it's not because I could see these figures. It's more because I knew there was a severe, serious problem, and I wanted to be a part of creating a solution for that problem. And whether it's 4%, whether it's 1%, you can reap rewards from a small percentage if the problem is big enough and it's massive. What is 1% of people dying? It's still too many people.
Facts.
Still too many people. And so just be authentic, be true to yourself, and if you know that there's an issue that you can be a part of the solution, stick to that. Don't try to move with where the wind is going. Randomly sticking white mothers on the poster. I was told to do that to make it to look more acceptable. So, no. And I'm so glad that the times have moved where now we're seeing people are, one, naming racism as a core issue of why these issues exist, and two, can see, the data doesn't lie now. We can definitely see Black mothers are more likely to have just poor outcomes across preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, down to our children, down to education, down to everything. This is a massive problem that involves not just the Black population, but everybody as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Also data, right? You having data, I don't think we understand that.
Yeah.
You having the data means that you could find the right sponsors, by having the data and knowing, look, these are the issues, these are the people, you can then find the right partners that want to speak to your customers. And that's in any industry, whether we're talking charities, whether we're talking business. Business is all about helping people. And so what you've been able to do is identify these are the people that need help. And these are the people that are looking to help these people. And now I can partner them and make money in the middle. Like, it's so important to understand that, again, like you said, when you went through it, I'm sure you're like, will anyone even take my case? How would I? Where do I go? Is anyone going to listen to me? Is anyone going to believe me?
Wow.
Why would they believe me over an NHS trust this institution? How can I take an institution to court? How many times has things happened to us in our community and we're like, but no, who's going to believe me in court?
Yeah.
The judge and the person look the same. They might even know each other, have mutual friends. This is the mindset that we have. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, a mindset.
And so like you are now providing a place to say, look, listen, number one, if there's a problem, here, I've got solutions for you. Number two, you've now made the other people say, right, we can't keep making these mistakes because we've been making these mistakes and getting away with it.
Getting away
but
with
once
it.
it starts hitting you in your pocket,
Yes.
now you want to find a solution.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's like I always say, if everybody in America had life insurance, you think police would just be shooting people anyhow? It's impossible.
Yeah.
The life insurance companies will be out here taking them to court.
Making change. They'll be taking the police to court.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
They'll be trying to affect policy.
And that's what you've done. You've literally put in place and said, listen, if you come for these law, if you don't do better for these law, we're gonna take you to court. And they said, listen, we've been going to court too much. Now we need to stop this happening.
That's literally what's happening now.
And this is what you've done. And you did. It's like you use your situation. It's not like it was planned. Sometimes people think you need to have this master plan of your business idea. God's gonna come down, and you just hadn't had a situation.
Yeah,
you found a way, and then said, "I'm going to help other people." Got opportunities, and just built along the way.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Why is my? I've got a question.
I know. It looks juicy as well, innit? I can tell.
I don't want to end on a light note, innit? Let's end light. Go back to Sandra personally, innit? So
okay,
I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up. So one thing that we end on every podcast is we ask about the W and the L of your journey, the cream and the crust, if you will. So just any, like, not necessarily the best part, but what comes to mind about a high and a low. It doesn't have to be about your career, doesn't have to be about your business. It can be about life as well.
I think for me, one of the highs is definitely set an example to my kids. My children definitely see mummy living in her purpose, having an element of freedom. And I want my kids to not associate success with being tied down, rigid, and forced to do things that they don't want to do. So they see mummy moving in a way that allows me to feel empowered, confident, happy, whilst making an impact. And I know that they're going to be successful based on what they've seen and witnessed and experienced. They too, some of them, Chloe, my middle daughter is very academic. My oldest daughter is very similar to me in a sense that she's very smart, but she prefers working outside of the classroom. And so just knowing that they've witnessed a model that their parents have made to, have a career or have a organization or a business that enables them to still live in their purpose whilst, because I see this as mission work, almost as ministry as well. You mentioned church, but I do believe God gave me this idea and the skills to execute it properly. And so them seeing that balance for me makes me feel very, very, very happy and fulfilled. That's a win. Yeah.
And the L?
And an L.
It could just be a lesson, just something you learn along the way.
To be a leader in any space, my goodness, you're going to take a lot of whooping. And I've had a little bit of whooping along the way that many people haven't seen, and some might have seen, and that can be very disheartening to step forward and be quite bold and be quite new in a space. Nobody was talking about race 9 years ago when it comes to maternity, and I was told not to do that because I won't get a job. That's what I was told, advice. Be careful, Sandra, going on the news speaking about race, and now people are doing it. So I know that I was a part of that wave in normalizing the conversation around race and health disparities in maternity care. But a part of the L for me is that when you're setting a pace or you're leading a sector or a space, some people struggle to see you as like setting pace. They struggle and they kind of have a bit of animosity, and then they try to share negativity along the way, and that can be very frustrating. But for me, I've always used that to fuel my motivation to keep going.
That makes perfect sense. We've loved having you on.
Even
though you've been dodging us.
I dodged.
Listen. You lot gotta understand, we bring you the best guests.
Honestly,
see this conversation here. To get this for free is actually criminal.
It's criminal.
It's actually criminal.
I was thinking of locking it up.
To get this conversation for free, is actually criminal, because this is inspiring. Sandra, you are a gem, in our community. to me, it's an honor to just be able to even share your story to the world, because people need to know more that there are people like you out there, because you're so down to earth, you're so humble, you're doing stuff on such a big stage, do you know what I mean? And you're so normal. Like, listen, this is somebody, if not for me meeting you, would I even think that you've got an MBA, you've got a law degree? Like, do you understand? Some people will let all of these things get to their head.
Yeah.
Like, but you just stay humble, approachable, like you're actually a lovely person in real life, and I'm so proud of you, and I think you should be proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
And like, we're just rooting for you to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
Guys, make sure you go and support Sandra. Where can they follow you? Where can they carry on? Just look straight. That camera is yours.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, appreciate you. You can follow me on Instagram, Sandy Igwe, SANDEE, Igwe, or the Motherhood Group.org, the Motherhood Group on Instagram, LinkedIn, Sandra Igwe, and download our app, Black Mums app, or the Motherhood Group on Apple Store and also Android.
Thank you for joining us. And guys, remember, we're going to have some special content on the Patreon. So if you're not involved in there already, make sure you click the link below. And until next time, make sure you like, share, and comment. We'll see you
Later.
Peace.